In this video, I'll show you the steps I take when painting 4 abstract landscapes using a limited palette of only 3 colors plus black and white. You'll also learn why working on multiple works at the same time is good for loosening up and prevent overworking. So let's get started. For these landscapes, I will be using primary magenta, cobalt blue, cadmium orange light, plus ivory black and titanium white on 300 grams or 140-pound watercolor paper. Please see the description below for all the details. I start by using relatively diluted orange paint here. I'm going to utilize the absorbency of the watercolor paper to create some thin layers of some orange and kind of warm brush strokes. I'm using a 1-inch hog hair household brush. And I really like it because the bristles are not too perfect, and the 1-inch size is big enough to make some bold brush strokes on this size of paper. I'm working a bit wet into wet here on the watercolor paper. And now I'm going in with a silicone scraper or a silicone tool, scraping into the paint, and obviously you have to do this while the paint is still wet, but it can create some very expressive and interesting marks, I think. The overall inspiration for these landscapes were some photos I took this summer of this really incredible sunset. So these very kind of reddish colors and some strong silhouettes in the form of trees and forests in the distance. I'm going in with a little bit of a darker brown now to give some contrast to the light areas, but also to indicate some woods, some forested areas. And already now I'm trying to make each painting slightly different. I don't want to repeat the same shapes in the same places on each painting. So, and I'm working also rather quickly to prevent overthinking. So it's okay, of course, to take a break and think, what can I do here? What do I need to change? But the more you work on these small sizes here, the more you kind of get used to making decisions. So it's about getting some experience by doing it, by doing the work. Here I'm using the silicone scraper again, kind of adding some different marks. I'm really into these sort of tracks in the landscapes. It could be roads, it could be footpaths, it could be tire tracks on the fields made by tractors or other types of farm equipment. So I'm adding sort of marks to indicate that. This might be painted over, I don't know yet, but at this stage here, that's what I'm gonna do. Here I started mixing up kind of a gray from the black and white, and I'm adding some cobalt blue as well because I want to start introducing some kind of grayish blue into the sky area to indicate some sky. Oops, that's a bit too dark, so I'm just gonna lighten it up some more. Although this is an abstract landscape or a semi-abstract landscape, I do want to add some recognizable elements, and I feel the sky is the way to go. I'm also going in with some darker grayish blue here in parts of the painting, just adding some smaller areas here and there to create interest perhaps, and to move the eye around. Again, I'm moving quickly from painting to painting as not to overthink. I have decided it's time to add a bit of charcoal, and this is willow charcoal. I'm trying to get started a bit first. I started out a bit timidly with some small kind of dabs, and now I'm working up the courage to be brave and getting in those expressive marks. Again, this is kind of to give the feeling of some patterns, of field patterns, or some maybe tracks in the fields. It's again the realisticness, if you can say that, is not important. It's more the feeling of these marks that are important to me. Now I'm just using a brush with a bit of clean water on it to soften some of those charcoal marks. It also helps to seal the charcoal a little bit, but it still does smudge. So when the water is all dry, I'm going to go in with a bit of this fixative spray and seal in the marks. So far the painting has been pretty expressive and maybe a tad wild, you could say. So it's time to start and just tone down some of the parts. Maybe not for you, but for me, I feel I want to tone down the sky a little bit. I do want a warm red evening sun kind of showing up, but I feel right now it's too intense. So I'm going to take down the intensity by using this light gray colors that I mixed up, and I'm gonna tone down the colors in the sky area. I'm also going back in with another brush and a little bit of paper towel there to soften some of the edges. And I'm covering up a bit more of that really intense red color there, and seeing how that looks. I'm gonna soften a little bit more some of the edges there. It's okay that there are parts that are very expressive and other parts that are a bit more calm. Moving on to the next small painting, I'm going to mix up some more gray. I like to mix a new gray for each painting, or at least I'll practice my skills at mixing different neutrals, different grays, and it's a good way to learn how to mix neutrals, but also to adjust the colors themselves. Like up here in the sky, the gray appears kind of cool against that yellowish orange there, almost with a green tint. And now I'm adding a little bit more gray to the sky. I'm not looking at the reference photo again. I'm kind of going for a sunset in my mind, or a sunset landscape that I might see in my mind. So that photo in the beginning was really just a starting off point, or an excuse to paint also, you could call it. But here I'm doing some mark making, scratching into the paint with the end of my paintbrush, and it looks like almost a path or road appeared there leading into the painting. Another thing that I sometimes see showing up in my paintings. I'm taking a little bit of that neutral color back into the first painting I was working on, and scratching again and softening some marks with some paper towel. Really just enjoying the process, going back and forth between the two. And now for the third painting, again using some of that neutral gray that I mixed up. And you can see that it doesn't cover the red and orange sky colors completely. And you can kind of sense those colors still beneath the gray veil of paint that is showing up, kind of creating this atmospheric perspective, atmospheric feeling. I really like that. I added some more white here, as you can see, so the paint became a lot more opaque, and it's actually starting to cover up the sky color, and I'm not sure I really like that, but now it happened, so let's work with it. Let's try and get some attention to the foreground instead, focusing on this pattern and these shapes in the foreground. In a way, when I paint like this, I feel a lot of times it's, of course, I'm drawing on some of the experience that I have, but I'm also learning to respond to things that happen, unexpected things, a lot of times. So it's I really prefer it to having my painting all planned out from the beginning. When I was starting out as a beginning painter, I was a lot more concerned with how the end result might look, because I guess I wanted to make sure that I would get a really great result when I was putting in all this time, all this work to the painting. So if I knew the end result, how it would look, and that it would be great, it would be worth my time and effort. Now I think I'm more focused on, of course, still achieving a great result, but I know now that I can always paint things over. I can add more layers. The painting is never really finished if you don't want it to be. And you can paint it over, or you can adjust. You can do so many things. And I really feel this is one of the big strengths with acrylic paints. The drying time is short, and we can really add a lot of layers without getting into trouble. There's a lot of things going on in the foreground and middle ground of this painting here on the lower right, so I'm gonna try and make the sky area a little bit calmer so that our attention kind of goes to the foreground mostly, because try and remember that you want certain parts of your painting to play the main role, and other parts of your painting to kind of be the supporting role. So you want a star of your painting, and then you want a supporting cast, you could say. So I'm also feeling now I did add already several layers of paint, so I'm gonna lighten up the sky a bit more, and I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of a brighter blue to add a little bit of some intense or more saturated blue color here and there to liven up the paintings again. I guess I tend to work a lot with contrasting elements in my work. If I'm using a lot of neutrals, then I tend to go back in with some more saturated and pure color after that. And if I've been using a big brush, big strokes, I might want to go in with some fine lines and some smaller elements. And I think for me, I found it's a good way to keep the energy rolling on the painting without getting stuck and without overthinking. So I'm constantly having to really adjust to what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, and also to come up with some things that are going to be challenging for me and interesting for me. Here I'm mixing up another neutral color, a kind of very warm gray neutral color, and I'm gonna add it around in the painting. So after that very pure blue color, I feel I want to tone some of the painting down again. I also want to soften some of the edges and transitions, so that's what I'm doing here with some paper towel and a little bit of paint. I have let the painting dry, and I want to add some mixed media elements, some pastels and marks with some dry media. But to be able to better adjust and see what I'm doing, I'm just going to remove this tape because it's starting to really distract me. And I'm not ripping the paper there. This is tape that I've reused before. So now that that tape is all gone, it's a lot more easy to see what's going on and what I might do. Having this white border near the painting isolates it very nicely from the others, and now I can really start looking at each individual painting and make some decisions. I decided to start with a little bit of subtle mark making using just a regular graphite pencil. And here I'm using a New Color 2 crayon to add some small but intensive color sparks around in the painting. I like to use similar colors to what is already in the painting, and then I like to end by adding some highlights, these spots of white around in the painting. To me, they symbolize whitewashed buildings in the landscape, and we have a lot of those up here in northern Denmark. And here are the finished pieces. I might let them rest for a day or two and then come and look at them again. But for now, I really feel they have each their own individual feeling, and I'm quite pleased. If you want to step into painting looser and making your painting routine more fun and enjoyable, don't forget to download your copy of the free guide, 5 Proven Ways to Loosen Up Your Painting Style. The guide has my top 5 tips to transform your painting style, so grab your copy of the guide via the link below this video.